I'm going to briefly talk about how to create a storyboard using bitstrips for schools. Obviously, the purpose of a storyboard is to help you when you go and film your video so that all the scenes and all the information is laid out before you actually go and do the filming. In our case, the storyboard is going to have to be included in the final submission, and it has to be created in a way that the purpose is not to be just a comic strip and to be humorous, but to actually be informative for you as the editor of the film. Okay, so we'll start by clicking Make a Comic, and usually for storyboarding I'll pick the one with the most frames. So we'll go with 6, and I'll call it Storyboard 1. So click on here and go to my art library, and I usually start by picking a scene that resembles something where I'm going to be filming. It doesn't have to be identical. The scene I don't really think is critical as long as you are aware of where your scene is going to be, and if you're changing scenes regularly, that should be reflected in the storyboard. So we're going to go with this one. No, actually, let's find something related to school. Yeah, this is good enough here. So I'm going to drop that in, drop it into all the different scenes. We're only going to do a couple panels actually for the demonstration purposes. Then I should know who are going to be my main characters. Like I showed you in class, you can pick people from our course and drop them in. So let's see here. Uzia. And I can already start animating her, but let's go back to make a copy and paste. There she is in all 3 scenes. So now you go to text bubble. Because text bubbles, I use them differently when I'm doing storyboard. The purpose is not for the scene to look perfect in the sense that this is a long shot that I want to do, and as you can see, it's a full body shot. And the reason why this is important, if I didn't want this kind of shot, I would move her face so that I only have a face shot, because the goal is that's the shot I want here, is a full body with a background. So I would state this. Okay, you can write details that help you. Opening scene, and character explains herself. Me? Okay. So we're going to move this around so that, oops. Trying to move the, there you go. So it might be small. You can make it larger if you have to, as long as it doesn't interrupt the rest of your scene. Alright. Now here's the thing. It's kind of hard to fit the text in here. So sometimes what I do is I encourage students to create the text somewhere else. So line 1 in Google Doc. In other words, you have your text somewhere else, because it's a little bit difficult to play with the bubbles and so on. And maybe you want to put, because if the dialogue is long, you might want to put that somewhere else. So here's another scene. So what we're going to do here is that's neat, I didn't know that. Okay, well there you go. And you could do a close-up of this face here. And Just trying to bring up the larger button. There it is. Drag her in. Maybe I want a close up in this scene. And basically you try to, it doesn't have to be perfect, alright, but at the same time it should give me it should give you a general idea of what you're planning on doing in your scene before you actually go and do it. You could draw this in theory, and in class, if you want to do this with your students, drawing it might be the way to go if you find it simpler. If you have a little bit of time and you want to dedicate some time in the unit to have them expand and use some of the digital tools to do that, that's definitely a possibility. So I'm going to stop it there. Gives you a little bit of a rough idea, but include the details. Include several boxes if you have to. You know, another box says, you know, might talk about use natural light. So maybe you know, you won't be conscious of the lighting, but sometimes when you're filming, you know, something like that is critical. Also, check sound quality. So sometimes students will use an iPhone to record, and although it's convenient, it's just terrible, like in the final product. So in certain rooms, the echo is really bad. So this is the kind of thing you'd want to be conscious of. So I'm looking for the little finger. There it is. You're going to check sound quality. So you should redo that in every scene where you restart recording. But see, this is one shot. Okay? Shot 1. Over here, it's a close-up. You make it a bigger close-up if you want. Shot 2. Check sound. But your light's probably still going to be the same. So you should be aware of those kind of things. And you can fit the text in here if it's not too long, but it's up to you. So line 1 in Google Docs. So maybe you want to number that. It's all up to you. So that's the instructions for this. Okay, thank you.